Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is. Introduction. Om Kyanatindasya Shanaya Chakshurvamidamidam Shri Gurudev Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mahavishtam Satsivaram Gurudev Namaha Swaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savajutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindan Vaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Pancha Kaptarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Tatanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhatta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Reading from the Gita Upanishad. Starting with text number. Typically, we progress 11 texts each night. This keeps us moving and at the end of 3 months' time, we'll finish the Bhagavad Gita. So let's go to that text now, which from Monday would be, let's see, so in other words, I'm gonna jump ahead a little, if that's okay with everyone. Text 12, text 22, text 32, 42. Okay, 10 verses from text 42. So where will be? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Long chapter. Text 52 of chapter 11 is where we'll start tonight. 1152. Yes, jumping ahead a little bit. Translation together in Mon-Sun, as well as the translation by Srila Prabhupada. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sudharsham Hidam Rupam Drishtabhan Hasiyanamha Deva Apyasya Rupasya Nityam Darshana Kangshimaha. Translation. The Blessed Lord said, "My dear Arjuna, the form which you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form which is so dear." Text 53. Naham vedarna tapasa nadhanena chachejaya shakya hevam vidho drashtum drashtavan hasimamhita. Translation. The form which you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. Text 54. Bhaktya tunayanya shakya aham evam vidharjuna gyatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. Translation. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Text 55, this is chapter 11, text 55. Matkarma krim sanghavarjita sarva bhuteshu yasamam eti pandava. Translation. My dear Arjuna, one who is engaged in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of previous activities and from mental speculation, who is friendly to every living entity, certainly comes to me. Chapter 12, entitled Devotional Service, Text 1. Shri Shri Guru Ki Jai. Satata yukta ye bhaktastam parupasite ye cha vyaksharam havyaktam tesham ke yoga vitamaha. Translation. Arjuna inquired, which is considered to be more perfect, those who are properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? Text 2. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Vishya Mano Yemam Nitya Yukta Upasite Shraddhaya Parayo Petas Te Me Yuktatamha Mataha. Translation. The Blessed Lord said, "He whose mind is fixed on my personal form always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith, is considered by me to be most perfect. Texts 3 and 4. Ye tvaksharam nirdeshyam havyaktam parupasate sarvatra gama chintyam cha kutastam achalam dhruvam sanyam yadrihagramam sarvatra samabodaya te prabhuvanti bhaveha sarvabhuta hite rataha. Translation. Those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, fixed, and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. Text 5. Klesho dikatastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukam dehabhad vadyate. Translation. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. One more time, I'm going to reread that. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Last text, 6 and 7. Ye tu sarvani karmani maya sanyas yamat para ananji yam upasite teshamaham samudarta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat parta maya vishita chetasam. Translation. For one who worships me, giving up all his activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, who has fixed his mind upon me, the son of Pritha, for him I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Just like Krishna says, Mamsha Yogya Bacharena Bhakti Yogena Sevate Sagunan Samatitatan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. One is immediately delivered from the gunas, the three qualitative modes of material nature of ignorance, passion, and goodness, coming to that devotional service. Immediately he is delivered. Krishna is the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death was Mrityu Samsara Sagarat. Mrityu Samsara Sagarat. From that ocean of material existence, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, sometimes swimming, sometimes sinking in this great big ocean of material existence. But nonetheless, we're suffering because even if we're float, it's only a matter of time before something really drags us down into the depths of the sea, which we cannot breathe in. Krishna, he delivers us very quickly from this personal form, right? This is being talked about at the beginning of chapter 12, text 1. Arjuna is asking, which is better? Which is considered to be more perfect? This is in spiritual life, there are different gradations of perfection. There's perfect, there's more perfect, and there's most perfect. So Arjuna is asking, which is better here? He's understanding the impersonal Brahman to be the energy of the Lord, non-different from the Lord. And that's true, but he's getting the idea at this point, at chapter 12 in the Bhagavad Gita, that there's something beyond this. So he's asking the question very plainly, which is better? Those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested, or those who are properly engaged in your devotional service? And here, in this very next text, it's spoken. He whose mind is fixed on my personal form, Krishna says, always engaged in worshiping me with great and transcendental faith, is considered by me to be most perfect. This is the goal of all the Vedas, is that Krishna is to be known in his personal aspect. Vedaischa sarvar aham eva vedyo, Vedanta krid veda vid eva chaham. By all the Vedas, I am to be known, Krishna says. Indeed, I've compiled all these Vedas, and I'm the knower of Vedanta. So many, it's been so many lives approaching the absolute truth, intelligence, speculating, but very, very easily, very quickly, one is delivered to the indivine knowledge, the last word of transcendence, which is this feature of Bhagavan, the personal form of the Lord. And Kali is this deliverance is chanting of the hymns, which is said to be even easy this age than the previous ones. But by enacting the Yuga Dharma Sankirtan of the congregational chanting of the holy name, easily in this age than in other ages can obtain true perfection of going back home to God. You can just maintain the devotee association and conviction. We're not looking very soon if we stick with this program given to us by Srila Prabhupada and the acharyas. We too will be very swiftly delivered. With you, samsara saga, that ocean to your existence. I should have maybe prefaced this with some prayers, so I'll say some prayers now. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasad Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharni Navishesha Srinivadi Prashatara Shatarni Krishna Vasudevaya Devaki Nananaya Nanagopal Kumara Govindaya Nama Namaha. And that if any time someone would like to make a point, interject, make a comment, or devotion service by asking a question, I'd very, very much be happy to field any questions, knowing that they'll be asked for my purification, and that there's very little I could say to those who are here that just kind of so teach. But still, if anything comes up, please let me can translation to a special droplet. Text 52. The Blessed Lord said, "My dear Arjuna, the form which you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is so dear." Purport. In the 48th verse of this chapter, Lord Krishna concluded, revealing this universal form, and informed Arjuna that this form is not possible to be seen by so many activities, sacrifices, etc. Now here the word Sudarshanam, sorry, this is 52. 52 reports. Yeah. Now here the word Sudordashan is used, indicating Krishna's two is still confidential. To see the universal form of Krishna by a little tinge of devotional service to very activities like penance, Vedic study, and philosophical speculation, etc. It may be possible, but without a tinge of bhakti, one cannot see. That has already been explained. Still beyond that universal form of Krishna, as a two-handed man, is still more difficult to see. Even for demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva, they desire to see him. And we have evidences in the Srimad Bhagavatam that when he was supposed to be in the womb of his mother, Devaki, all the demigods from heaven came to see the marvel of Krishna. They even waited to see. A foolish person may deride him, but that is an ordinary person. Krishna has actually desired to be seen by demigods like Brahma and Shiva in his two-armed form. A foolish person may deride him. Vajananti mamudha shintam shritam rambhavam vajananto mamabhuta maheshwaram. But those who know Krishna and it says here the demigods, they even waited to see him. They came to see the marvel of Krishna. Even by those personalities so great, such as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, who in their own right can pretty much do anything they want to see or travel in the tour. Creators and destroyers in the right, they understand the glories of Krishna, both being very exalted devotees. Then jumped over by starting with text 52 is this whole, really this, we skipped a lot. And for Krishna, who is now revealing his two-armed form, his original form, before this, he had shown Arjuna his four-handed form of Narayan. And sometimes it's misunderstood that Krishna enters to this world. Krishna enters into this world through Vishnu. That's true. So they misunderstand Krishna as a expansion from Vishnu, not understanding that actually Krishna is tu Bhagavan Swayam, that Krishna is the original supreme personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of all incarnations. Everything is emanating from Krishna. And incarnations come from this original form as well. So this is, if anyone has a problem with that or can't seem to understand that, this is a really good portion of the Bhagavad Gita to reference, because Arjuna wasn't pacified in full by seeing Krishna's four-handed form of Narayan, but everything was made all right within himself when he saw his friend Krishna in the two-handed original form that we hear is most sweet and beautiful. So talks about this in Nectar of Devotion, the Rasamrita Sindhu, the 64 qualities of Lord Krishna. Not even Vishnu has all the opulences in full as Krishna. Nor does Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. So I just wanted to make that point, because oftentimes there's confusion that Krishna is the supreme, the original, even of Lord Vishnu. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also confirmed that he is not visible to the foolish persons who deride him. Nalakshase Mudhadrisha. This is the verse, the theme of the that we're listening to from Srila Prabhupada. Friday this few weeks we've been speaking about this verse from Queen Kunti, where she says, Maya Javanakachanam, Agyadokshajamayam, Nalakshase Murajasha, Darodata, sorry, Narunatya Daroyata, that by the curtain, the deluding energy, the energy which covers the vision of the living entity like a curtain, it blocks the living entity from seeing. Nalakshase Buddha Trisha. He can no longer see because of his foolery, he can't understand who Krishna is any more than an actor who is dressed as a player is not recognized by his own family. One might be sitting in a theater and watching a play or a movie or something like that, and they might be so engrossed in what it is that they're experiencing in this film or in this stage that they forget that the person behind all that makeup is actually none other than their dear friend. In this case, Krishna, right? This is who we've lost the privilege to see in full, or to even remember at all. We've completely forgot Krishna. So what kind of life without Srila Prabhupada, without the Gita, without the devotees who have welcomed us in and tolerated us, without purity? What kind of position would we be? Simply of Krishna. But Krishna is in our heart. There's actually nothing to be gained outside of ourselves because he's always with us, maintaining us, and bringing everything to us that we need. Nitya Sela Krishna Prem Sadhikavan Shravanade Shurechati Koya Udone. That there's nothing to be gained outside of ourselves, but that true bliss is realized and remembered in our relationship with Krishna that we've forgotten. But as we hear this transcendental vibration coming from these books and coming from the lips of the pure devotee, then we are remembered. Shavanada Shure Chitte Korea Udoy, our heart becomes purified, and we remember we can see him again. Continuing. Krishna's body is confirmed by Brahma Samhita and confirmed by himself in Bhagavad Gita is completely spiritual and full of bliss and eternality. His body is never like a material body. But for some who make a study of Krishna by reading Bhagavad Gita or similar Vedic scriptures, Krishna is a problem. For one using a material process, Krishna is considered to be a great historical personality and very learned philosopher. But he isn't an ordinary. But some think that even though he was so powerful, he had to accept a material body. Ultimately, they think that the absolute truth is impersonal. Therefore, they think that from his impersonal feature, he assumed a personal feature attached to material nature, which is entirely illogical. To think that there is this absolute truth, there is this source of energy, and it is formless, it has no name, no defined characteristics, it is everything. Everything comes from it and goes back into it, and all form takes its birth into existence by, let's say this, the impersonalist says this, that the absolute truth is formless, and we've taken our form from it. So how can we take something that is not of the source? Could God be anything less than his creation? If we were created by God, who is impersonal, how can we have a form if it does not have a form? Not he, but it. I think it's they can't understand this. They're blocked from using any kind of part of their brain that would allow them to think like this. For so many reasons, due to sinful activity, right, and which is perpetuated by the negative association, the curtain of diluted energy is falling before them, and they cannot see. So, with just a little bit of intelligence, one can with a sort of knowledge, cut these logical arguments and begin to walk back towards Krishna's form, which means spiritual. It's like that. So he doesn't have a material form, but it's completely spiritual form. It's not subject to a beginning and an end. So we have trouble understanding God's forms because we're thinking about form and material, definition. But actually, we don't know. We don't know that form isn't limited to just what we know it here, to have a beginning and end. No, form can also be eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. Sachit Ananda Vigraha. Vigraha means form. And so if one actually looks into the Vedas that they're trying to exploit, really, that's what people do is when they are searching for knowledge, if it's not pure, it means it's tinged with a little bit of desire to take that knowledge and exploit it, to use it to dominate over someone else, or to ultimately become God, right? That's oftentimes why we go into our studies in the material world. And sometimes that's even there in spiritual pursuits, and that's something we have to shake ourselves free from. But Krishna, he cannot be known by such people who take to Vedic scriptures in that way. He's not known by any kind of... you cannot actually know Krishna just by study of the Vedas alone. It's just a part of it. But you won't have the access to know Krishna in full without a qualified spiritual master, without constant association by the sadhu to nourish bhakti. There's much more to say about that, but that's my train of thought. That's pretty much brings us to our time. You can finish this purport, or if anyone would like to make a comment, I'd really appreciate it. No? Okay. We can finish out this purport. You have a... Yeah. Yes. Oh. Rama and Shiva. Nice. A little bit beyond that. Start there. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also confirmed that he is not visible to the foolish persons who deride him. Krishna's body is confirmed by Brahma Samhita, confirmed by Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita, is completely spiritual and full of bliss and eternity. Skip ahead. Ultimately, they think that the absolute truth is impersonal. They think that this impersonal feature, he assumed a personal feature attached to material nature. This is materialistic calculation of the Supreme Lord. Another calculation is speculative. Those who are in search of knowledge also speculate on Krishna and consider him to be less important than the universal form of the Supreme. Thus, some think that the universal form of Krishna, which was manifested to Arjuna, is more important than his personal form. According to them, the personal form of the Supreme is something imaginary. They believe that in the ultimate issue, the absolute truth is not a person, but the transcendental process is described in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, to hear about Krishna from authorities. That is the actual Vedic process, and those who are actually in the Vedic line hear about Krishna from authority, and by repeated hearing about him, Krishna becomes dear. As we have several times discussed, Krishna is covered by his Yoga Maya potency. He is not to be seen or revealed to anyone and everyone. Only by one to whom he reveals himself can he be seen. This is confirmed in Vedic literature. From so the absolute truth can actually be understood. The transcendentalist, by continuous Krishna consciousness and by devotional service to Krishna, can have his spiritual eyes opened and can see Krishna by revelation. Such a revelation is not possible even for the demigods. Therefore, it is difficult even for the demigods to understand Krishna, and the advanced demigods are always in hope of seeing Krishna in his two-handed form. The conclusion is that although to see the universal form of Krishna is very, very difficult and not possible for anyone and everyone, it is still more difficult to understand his personal form of as Shyama Sundar. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki.